what about these content moderators? Are they being taken advantage of and extorted by the content platform companies? Could the platform figure out a way to try to compensate these moderators? Money is coming into this one way or another. Is the platform going to get out in front of it and help prevent corruption? Are content platform companies really just a mechanism to take advantage of free labor? I don't know. Let's dig in. A lot of the gig economy, what I would call service marketplace companies, your Ubers, right? Your DoorDashes, the labor advocates for the gig economy workers, the 1099 workers, the contract workers will say that these gig economy marketplaces are taking advantage of these, hourly workers, not giving them benefits, cheating them out of, kind of Social Security and taxes. The government will certainly say that these marketplaces are cheating on taxes. They should be treating these workers as W-2 employees, not 1099, right? Yada, yada, yada. We've talked about California and the AB5 law and 1099 versus W-2 many, many, many times on the show, right? So there's that constant debate. These big bad platforms taking advantage of this, kind of hourly, kind of like blue collar labor, people doing deliveries and picking up orders and this kind of stuff, right? Now, let's take that construct and think about it in the world of content platforms. Specifically, these content platforms that have a level of what I would call curation. Let's say you're on a content platform and people are making posts, right? I post a photo to Instagram. I post a tweet to Twitter. That is kind of the most basic and fundamental form of value creation as a producer on a content platform. But there's actually a next level of value creation on the platform, and that's actually value creation in the form of curation, moderation, right? To kind of say, hey, yeah, there is all this content that's being created for free, user-generated content. There's also now another layer of value on top to kind of make sense of all that stuff, to weed out the bad posts or to weed out the users that are, polluting the community. And that's a regular workload. But historically, on a lot of these content platforms, that workload has actually been done for free. Now, with Reddit going public this year, 2022, there's been a lot of articles over the years, right? So look at this article. Is it time for Reddit to pay its moderators? January 2015. This is 7 years ago, gang. This article basically talks about moderators putting in multiple dozens of hours, sometimes a week, taking down bad posts, taking action against users that are kind of harassing people in the comments, right? In the threads on Reddit. So this is the Yelp elite squad, right? They'll invite you to dinner. It's a diverse community of passionate writers, photographers, and adventurers. Join exclusive events. They're giving perks to their elite reviewers and producers, right? Another one is Wikipedia. This is a list of Wikipedians by number of edits. These people making millions of edits, hundreds of thousands of edits. Look at this. They're not paid anything. This is from The Atlantic talking about the covert world of people trying to edit Wikipedia for pay. This is about the most prolific editor on Wikipedia, 32-year-old Justin Anthony Knapp, the most active contributor of all time, has made an astonishing 1,485,000 edits, an average of 385 per day. Editing Wikipedia became my hobby, and for a while it was basically all I did. For up to 16 hours a day, Knapp would surf around various pages looking for inaccuracies or missing information. When I did the millionth edit, members of the Wikimedia Foundation were generous enough to fly me out to DC. It felt great that my work was being appreciated. So the guy did 1 million edits for free, and they flew him out to DC and gave him a pat on the back. People talking about Uber drivers being taken advantage of. What about these content moderators? Are they being taken advantage of and extorted by the content platform companies? Now, yes, Wikimedia is a not-for-profit, But Reddit is not. Reddit's now worth over $10 billion going public. And I'm going to show you some examples of other content platforms that are actually looking for how to pay for content curation and moderation. But I think it's a very interesting question. It's a lot of time, and that time is not being compensated for. Could the platform figure out a way to try to compensate these moderators if the platform really wanted to, right? What is Reddit doing for all of its content moderators? No, you don't see those kinds of articles. Instead, you see articles for the past 7 years talking about how they put in all this time, some of them 40 hours a week, 10 to 40 hours a week for free with really not much to show for it. So let's look at this news, which just came out in the past month. Discord's new premium memberships let creators monetize servers. Interesting, right? Discord is a chat platform, communication platform, really started out of the gaming community. Microsoft tried to buy it for billions of dollars. They turned it down. Now they're rolling out this new offering with around 10 creators who will pave the way for Discord's 150 million monthly active users to pay to access a range of channels or servers and support creators. If you think about the rise of Patreon and Patreon really helping creators monetize the audience that they have, and now Discord kind of stepping into this, saying, hey, they have a 90-10 split with creators, right? Allowing Discord communities to keep 90% of all the revenue. I think there's a lot of similar threads going on here around compensating for value. Something I've talked a lot about in the past is to say, when you have these news feeds on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, etc., the spread of fake news, we have algorithms that are trained to accentuate content which is very controversial, has high engagement, very often triggering content, incendiary content, very often fake news content, because it gets the highest engagement. If you think about the role of newspapers 20 years ago, 30 years ago, before the internet, right? Yes, newspapers were creating content, but you were also trusting in the newspaper's brand that if they reported on something, it was factually true. They had journalistic standards on having sources, a certain number of sources, to make sure that they were holding themselves to the highest standards and what they were reporting on was true. Point is, would people pay for a curated news feed that you could trust? What's the platform version of New York Times is New York Times doesn't actually write any articles. All they do is curate a news feed on Facebook. And all they're doing is having editors look through the different stories online that are being, and saying, yep, this is true. I now allow it to be in the news feed. It's just a curation. It's a form of curation as value creation, right? You could write the article, or you could just be a good editor and curate what's real and what's not. And would people pay for that? I think they would. Now, yes, there's a lot of, political bias these days and all this kind of stuff. So, pick the New York Times on the left and the New York Post on the right, and you're going to have readers gravitate towards the publication that they identify with more from a political stance. But the point is, both of these publishers, could they have a business model purely just being a content curator? And I think they could if the platforms would provide a mechanism for what? Monetizing the value of curation, which is kind of, I'm now coming full circle with it here, gang. And so this is where I go for what Gab just launched. Gab just launched this new public feeds feature. This feature allows Gabbers to curate a custom feed that can be private or public. If it is public, other Gabbers can subscribe to it, and it can be viewed and shared by people who do not have Gab accounts. So you could have feeds that have a theme, that are being edited with a certain flavor of curation. And would you pay for that value? I think you would. I know I would. How much would you pay? I don't know, $1 a month, $2 a month, $5 a month. I think this is the next phase, hopefully is the next phase of what Gab is doing with the ability to create your own feeds. I've talked for actually years on the show about bifurcating the role of content creation and content curation with public platforms. Actually, when we interviewed Tim Kendall, the Facebook's first director of monetization, like employee 15, and he had the Netflix documentary talking about how devastating algorithms are. He has testified in front of Congress. We had him on the show. And one of the things I asked him is exactly this. Hey, Tim, what if we bifurcated the role of content curation? What if you could curate your own newsfeed and get paid for it? Right? Could we bring journalistic integrity back to the newsfeed? Which is kind of what happened that's what the newspaper was. Yes, they were writing the content, but they're also curating the content. And that's one of the things we've lost is the integrity of curation. So, I kind of started out this segment poking fun at like Reddit, should they pay their moderators? The more you think about it, there's value. The more you think about it, if you look at Wikipedia, these moderators actually have a lot of sway and influence and power. And in Wikipedia's case, you're seeing moderators get paid to, interject certain information on Wikipedia listings, right? And you're kind of changing history. These Reddit moderators, as we've talked about on the show in the past, have tremendous power where they have literally created their own like Reddit super moderator group that will make collective decisions. They were doing this to enforce the expelling of certain Reddit communities that the Reddit super moderator group did not like or approve of. Then they basically held Reddit hostage and were successful to get these communities banned. So these Reddit super moderators have tremendous power. When will the day come that the Reddit super moderators demand compensation? Will this IPO open Pandora's box? Money is coming into this one way or another. Is the platform going to get out in front of it and help prevent corruption and also support their moderators, their curators, like we're seeing Discord do, like we're basically seeing as the impetus for the Patreon business model? I think it's a really interesting topic. Hopefully more to come on this. Hi, I'm Alex. Thanks for watching the show. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, but even better, make sure to follow us on Odyssey, follow us on Rumble, and text us 203-646-5159. Text the word Monopoly. You'll be subscribed. You'll get updates about when we're going live, our latest videos, and we'll send you even a little goodie bag. And in the event that we all get banned from big tech, we'll still be connected.